Hi guys, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Jenny Tamaya. On today's episode, we have an amazing guest. I want to let him introduce himself.
Hey guys, my name is Alan Obi, and
Yeah.
I am the voice behind We Need to Talk.
Mm-hmm. You call yourself Dr. Obi. Are you actually a doctor, or is it
No,
like
not yet, not yet. So my friends think I should go back to school, but for now, I'm just talking. I'm just talking. I'm the talking doctor.
yes, you're talking
Yeah,
doctor, which
yeah,
is very, very okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Now you've talked about your platform. We need to talk, which is an amazing platform, by the way.
Thank
The
you,
ladies you
thank you.
bring there, perfection. It's like everyone that is just so eloquent, educated, classy, and everything that I want to be. Anyway,
Yeah.
can you tell us what made you come up with such a platform? What was the reason behind it?
Yeah, so We Need to Talk as a platform started as a platform on YouTube started last year. But it was a platform before that. I was on college campuses. We would host events. So between 2013 and 2016, we were on. I think at our height, we were at 7 different schools, and we would host discussion events and seminars. And once I graduated, it became hard to kind of like guardrail what was going on at the school. So it gradually shut down. COVID really, ended everything. So I decided to transition into the digital space, and now we're on YouTube.
Amazing. That's such a simple reason. It's very it's so simple from
Yeah.
there, and then you just did that. Yeah. Now, if could you go in depth and explain what we need to talk is about?
Yeah. So whenever if somebody texts you like we need to talk, most people get scared. You're afraid. You think you've impregnated somebody, or you think somebody's gonna break up with you. So I wanted to reframe or redirect that anxiety, and that's why I called it "We Need to Talk," and redirect it towards conversations that were necessary to bridge gaps. So at first, we were talking about like racism. We were talking about the divide between white people and black people, the divide between men and women, the divide between right leaning people when it comes to politics, left leaning people when it comes to politics. So whatever gap, we found a way to have a conversation to bridge it. The gap that kept coming up the most was the gap between black men and black women. So the YouTube was just a consequence of that conversation that was being had already. It's being had, in my personal life. It's being had on YouTube already. It's being had, on college campuses. So I thought, why not formalize this and add my voice to the conversation and get as many different perspectives from women that I could. So that's how we arrived here
Oh, okay. Amazing, amazing. Speaking of racism, have you experienced racism? Because you're an African in the States.
in the States.
Uh,
Yes, yes and no, right? So when I talk about racism, I don't talk as much as about the interpersonal stuff, like the person who doesn't like you because you're black. I don't think that's as important. I think about the systemic racism. So the things that were put into place, particularly in America, to make sure that a certain group, a certain demographic stayed in power, and other groups, other demographics stayed at the bottom. So me personally, I mean, I could probably name some instances, but for the sake of conversation, I think what's more important is like the systemic aspect that affects us. I will say, as an African living in the United States, I'm not as affected because of my strong cultural background and because of the mindset that was instilled in me even before I came to this country. So I think I had a leg up. I had an advantage, and I think a lot of my success, if you would call it that, is a consequence of that advantage.
oh, that's new. Speaking of your cultural upbringing, you are Nigerian, right?
I am Nigerian. Yes,
Well,
I'm
do they call
Igbo.
that? Oh
Igbo more
yeah,
specifically, yeah.
to be exact.
Yeah.
You think you being a Nigerian has made you have tough skin, right?
100%, yeah. Yeah, we don't cry about nonsense. We don't,
Eh,
we just face what we're facing and we conquer it.
okay. Do you think that's the mentality most Africans should have? Because there's some people who say there are people who blame racism for everything, even when it shouldn't be brought into play.
Well, I think a lot of the reasons, I'm just going to speak about Nigerians specifically. A lot of the reasons we are the way that we are is because of trauma. And I don't think we talk enough about the trauma that led us to this resilience that everybody brags about, right? So I do recognize, people complain that African Americans, for instance, they don't take advantage of all the resources that are available to them. They just complain this, and that. But when you consider the context of slavery in the Americas as it has been aimed at African Americans throughout their history, and you look at the context of like colonialism in Africa, there were different effects, and I feel like our effects still allowed us to be, you know what I'm saying? For the most part, it still allowed us to be like resilient, especially when we're given opportunity, because most of us don't have any opportunity. Versus, if you have crumbs of opportunity every now and then, you might get to a place where you take it for granted. And I think, as much as there've been a lot of great things done by African Americans, I think part of the consequence of the systems that were put in place, how it affected the majority is it made them, in a way, take some of the advantages for granted in a way that Africans don't when they come over here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I
It's
like
it's
I
it's re- it's really complicated, and I'm like
yeah,
careful because I want to say the right thing the right way, but
yeah.
I do think a lot of Africans that come here, I think the mistake we make, we don't fully understand American history, and when you don't understand the
Mm.
history, it's easy to say, oh, African Americans are lazy, African Americans are this and this and that, but like when you really learn the history and you learn about the things that were done to make the vast majority of them fail in life for the benefit of the American economy, you realize that it's not simple laziness. It's a lot. There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's understandable. Now, one can easily call you a businessman. Can I call you a businessman? Because the
Sure,
platform you have has, brought in some benefits. So you are
sure,
technically a businessman in the US. Have you
sure.
had some challenges with that?
Yeah, like I recently just got an accountant. I recently have
Okay.
tried to like formalize some of the business operations because before this, I was just like, obviously, I still work my regular
Mm,
job. I
mm,
was just like, doing things how I could and trying to, take care of everything. But at some point, I realized I won't be able to do everything on my own, especially as we scale. So
mm,
I'm still learning. My degree is in business, so I have a little
mm,
upper hand. But yeah, I'm still
yeah.
learning.
Yeah. But I wanted to be more specific. Do you feel like there's some challenges you face because you are an African in the US?
No,
Oh.
I think being an African in the U.S. would pose some challenges. I think I've learned how to be a really good chameleon. So for all intents,
Adapt.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So for all
Uh,
intents and purposes, if I don't tell you, you won't know. You just think I'm black.
mm,
So some of those things I can navigate. I can navigate white spaces. I can navigate black spaces, and I think that gives me the advantage. But to the regular African, I think it might be challenging, like the communication barrier. I know in Nigeria, for instance, we're very we can come off as argumentative and harsh, and we are bartering. What price do you want? This and that. But in America, you have to be a lot more covert and a lot more subtle. So I've learned the art of American business communication.
Wow.
So we're trying small, small.
I like how you do that and add in your Nigerian accent. You like you
Just
sprinkle that in
sprinkle.
there.
Exactly. It's like salt.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I like that. I like the adaptation element of it all. Yeah. Now we've come to the end. Do you have any last words? Could you give a shout out to your page?
Yeah, no, definitely. If you guys can go check me out on YouTube at We Need to Talk, just We Need to Talk, one word. Check out some interviews, leave comments. I love all the feedback, and yeah, I hope we can do this again.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Also follow us on all our social media pages at Kinganda. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.